Welcome, and thanks for tuning in to the latest installment of the Driftr Podcast, Flights, Miles, and Abroad, with your hosts, Brandon Boone, Kiera Sandoval, and Brian Fontenelle. Learn how to maximize points, new interesting places to explore, stories from fellow travelers, and get your traveler questions answered from our weekly podcast.
And we back for another episode. Did y'all miss us?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Another week.
On a Tuesday. Miss y'all guys. It's been a long week since the last time we recorded the Driftr Podcast. We're definitely excited for all of the interesting stuff that we're going to talk about today on the show. So, you know what? We're going to go ahead and get things kicked off.
Oh, yeah.
Let's kick things
Let's
off.
go.
We're going to move quickly into the cards and points segment. Brandon and I are going to break down some card strategies, helping you to learn how to use your business credit cards so that you can be able to, and personal credit cards, so that you can be able to take the points and miles and travel all the places that you want to go, like everywhere.
Let go.
Let go. So for today, we're going to focus on another business credit card from the Amex family. And today, specifically, we're going to focus on the American Express Business Platinum Charge Card.
That platinum card?
Yeah.
Platinum status?
It's one of my favorite cards.
Oh, yeah.
I have too many of them. Just to be honest with you.
Mr. Amex. So,
Yeah.
with the American Express Business Platinum, you get 5 times membership reward points. 5 times.
Ooh, 5x points.
Top five.
Say it one more time. 5
times. That's pretty
On
good.
what, though?
Outdone.
On everything?
On flights and preferred hotels on AmexTravel.com. Then you get 50% more points on qualifying large businesses purchases. And you get a $200 airline fee. But the fee for the car is $450, which is still not bad. I'm sure there's a lot more benefits that Brian will cover. And for the bonus offer, you can earn up to 75,000 membership reward points.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yes. I need them to do 100. They did 100 before.
Yeah, when I got my card offer, I got 150,000 points.
Right. So you get 50,000 membership points after you spend 10,000, and an extra 25,000 points after you spend an additional 10,000. So once again, this is a business card. So your business must be booming or making some large businesses purchases. I think this would be the card to go.
Definitely. So let me talk to you about my personal strategy with using the Business Platinum card. So I have 2 of them that I use. The 50% points on qualifying purchases. When you make a purchase over $50,000, or $5,000, you get 1.5 points. So anything like any large qualifying purchase over $5,000, you definitely want to use this card unless it's in a category where you're getting 2x points now, or 3x points or anything else. Now, we mentioned the other day about last week on the episode about the American Express Business Blue card. So that card gets you 2x points on the first $50,000 in purchases. So if you have a large purchases, you might want to put it on that card. But if you have something that is in a 1x category and it's over $5,000, you definitely want to put it on this card. And then with the American Express Airlines bonus, you choose every year a airline, like for instance, mine's Delta, because of course I fly for those Sky Pesos. The $200 airline fee credit, any kind of expenses, like for instance, I have for Delta, like a baggage expense or going into a lounge, or I may order get me a cocktail or something on the flight. All those things could be covered by the airline fee. But also when I make economy purchases or for flights using my points, or for any carrier, if I choose first class or business flights, I get 35% of my points back. Now, here's the thing. The 35% points back on your chosen airlines comes back in about 4 to 6 weeks. So you have to wait some time to get that back. But basically, for instance, I found a fare for me to go to Peru for about 40,000 points. Now, I had a special targeted offer where I got 50% airline points back. So I'm going to Peru on only 20,000 points round trip.
What?
Because I got 50% back, but I would usually get 35% going back.
Clutch.
So if you convert those points into cost, I basically paid for $200 round trip to go to Peru.
That's dope.
Wow. Why you didn't give me a ticket?
Right.
Look,
See?
I bought the ticket, then I told people the next day, and people said I couldn't go.
Whoa, wait.
Was it 12
Brandon, you got a
squad,
text
though?
about Peru? Because I didn't get a text about that.
Squad? See, it was in the squad, though.
Wait,
Kiwi's hurt.
Wait. Wait,
I just
I'm
snitched on
not. I
myself.
thought I was in the travel squad.
You are in the travel squad.
You know what? I'm going to Austin tomorrow because we need to have a conversation.
We'll have a heart to heart.
Yes.
It's about that time. But
You
yeah,
know what? I'm feeling some type of way right now.
Right.
Okay, proceed.
so we'll talk about the other benefits that I also use. Now, one of the things that's not mentioned here about the American Express Business Platinum Card, we talked about the $450 annual fee. Before you scream about the annual fee, remember, you get the $200 airline fee credit. But there's another benefit that's not really talked about that I use a lot, and it's only on the business version of the card. The business version of the card gives you 10 free internet vouchers. Now, I've traveled a lot on planes, and I'm beginning to realize that the cost of internet can range anywhere from like $15 to like $20 or $30. So I'm just going to say that every flight, to pay for internet for the flight is $20. You get 10 of those for free. That's another $200 right there, which means I'm basically paying $50 per year to cover the cost for this card. Now I'm getting back the 35% annual bonus on my flights, which that's a big deal. So, 35% back on whatever you're going to spend. So we'll say I use 10,000 points. That'd be somewhere around like $100. 35% back, that's $35. Now it's down to like $15 for the card. So there are many different ways that I use this card. Not to mention the 5X membership points on flights and prepaid hotels. And sure, Brandon and Kiwi can attest to it. When I look at flights, the first place I look is on American Express. Yep. So I can either take advantage of the 35% points back, or I take advantage of the 5X membership rewards points. So it really comes down to the annual cost. You make money off of this card if you utilize it correctly. Now, for those who may work a job in corporate America and you have expenses, put it on this card. Let them pay it back.
Right.
Now you cover it because you're getting extra points and other things.
It's all about finessing.
Right.
All right.
So let me
And you get the
ask
priority
you-
pass, right?
You get the priority pass. Oh my God.
Dope.
How did I not talk about
Right.
this?
Hold on
This
now.
is the best benefit. So I love the Chase Sapphire cards because you get priority pass with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But the reason why I like American Express a little bit more is because with American Express's lounge network, you get access into Delta's lounges. You get access into the American Express Centurion lounges with this card. Plus you get priority pass global, which means you can bring up to 2 people in all the priority pass lounges. Ooh. So when it talks about an expansive lounge network, every time you see me on Snapchat, IG, in a lounge, I'm using this card. This card has helped me to get into like so many different places. I'll never forget one time coming back from, I don't even know where. It was somewhere, I think it was probably Hong Kong, and we went to a priority pass lounge, went to a Delta lounge, and the Delta lounge had a shower. And I had like a 3-hour delay. So I ended up taking a shower, got my clothes cleaned, and then ended up basically just coming out fresh.
Yep.
A new person.
The Turkish airline lounge we were in before we went to Iceland had a shower, even had a prayer room, and had a hot food buffet. It had a full bar, open bar, and all of us were able to get in there.
Oh yeah. I was
So
just about to
the
say,
priority
we
pass
was in
is
that thing
definitely
chilling.
clutch.
Oh yeah.
And thanks to this card, I've met a whole bunch of different celebrities. Like I ran into Ludacris in Atlanta at the Delta Lounge.
That's dope.
I've run into, who else did I run into? I saw The Rock in one. I'm trying to think who else. Like a lot of celebs, I guess, have this card too, or they fly Delta a lot.
They know how to finesse.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool, especially like the lounges. They definitely have a lot of amenities when it comes to snacks and food. That adds up. They have drinks and cocktails. They have massages. Some of them have spas. Like it's expansive in the amount of benefits you get, and especially you don't have to pay their annual fee, which is like almost $300 a year to get that kind of benefits. It's all included in your annual fee for the card. So as I look at it, I end up making money off of this card every year.
Oh, that's how you do it. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you though, because I know this may scare some people off. I guess this might be more of like an intermediate card, but just looking at the bonus offer where you have to spend $10,000, how can people really reach that? Like, what's some ways that people can spend $10,000?
So we talked about before paying bills using plastic. In season 1, where plastic allows you to use a credit card to pay some bills. Now, there's been some changes when it comes to American Express and what type of things you can pay. Like people are paying mortgages or people are paying like rent, but you can definitely pay things like student loans, car notes, insurance. And then other things like business wise, you may have like any kind of expenses for like a blog or annual stuff. That's how I've been able to use it. Also, the good thing is you can have authorized users on your account. If there are people that you trust that have expenses too, having them help you out for 3 months might not be a bad idea.
Gotcha. And 10,000 really not that much if you think about it, especially if you do have like a business that you just starting.
Mm-hmm.
I know those business expenses can add up pretty quickly.
Especially if you're doing a lot of travel for work and you can put things on a card that they're going to reimburse anyway. So that's a good way.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do like consulting type work or traveling type of work, that's another way of doing things. I've definitely taken advantage of that, by putting, it makes more sense if you can always put your expenses from a corporate company on your own card that gets you flights and miles. Even if you get the business version, hey, that works. So, I mean, there are different ways that you can finesse to really make sure you get all 75,000 points. But also keep in mind, if you have a purchase over $5,000, you're getting 50% more points. So you're going to get even more points than that $75,000 offer.
Right.
So if you can find one way to make a $10,000 purchase all in one and pay it off real quickly, man, you're going to rack up some serious
points on points on points.
Right.
Yeah, I always try to strategize how I'm going to hit that mark before I get the card. Just like, okay, I'm going to apply for the card, but this is how I'm going to hit that point strategy. That way, you are already ahead of the game when you get the card.
Right. Like, for instance, I got this card. I got a targeted offer, so they gave me even more points than the membership offer, and I had a lot of expenses about to come up for my foundation. So I applied for this card right when I knew I was about to make all expenses. I cleared it, like, within a month.
Oh, easy. Easy points. And this is a charge card, right?
This is a charge card, so you don't pay interest, but you have to pay it off at the end of the month. Now, an unknown benefit that the card has, after you've gotten a good credit history and payments with American Express, they also give you the ability to pay over time certain parts of your charge card. Now, they do charge an interest on that, but if you have a large purchase that you just can't pay off in the month, you can take portions, I believe, of your actual balance and turn it into pay over time. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Right. Well, there you have it.
That's the skinny.
Another card. Get those points.
Get those points. We also have referral codes, so make sure that you always sign up for a referral code, because unless there's like an offer that we can't beat. So, but I'm just saying, love thy neighbor.
Right. Help a brother out.
Because we'll in the benefit of when we both do a referral, we both get extra points. So you get even more than the 75,000 points. Start things off.
Every week, the Driftr Podcast features dialogue and stories from our travel community. Real stories from real travelers. If you want to join our travel community, please visit signup.driftertravels.com. Have a question about the podcast? Want to submit a question of the day or a topic for consideration? Send an email to podcastinquiry@driftertravels.com. We would love to connect with you.
All right. So now that we've broken down your American Express business platinum card strategy for going into lounges, maximizing your points, getting points back from your flight purchases, and your strategy on how to make sure to maximize that special reward offer of 75,000 points, we're going to go to the next segment of our show, where we're going to take a trip to somewhere around the world, to a place that I probably have never heard of, never seen, couldn't tell you on a map until today. So for today's episode, Kiwi, where are you taking us?
Guys, we're going to go to Yangon, Myanmar. And Myanmar is the country formerly known as Burma.
Burma.
Yes. Okay, so a couple things you need to know. You do need a visa to get to Myanmar. So you need it's $50 for the visa. You do need to get it before you get there. And also the visa is valid for 28 days. So you can't go there and camp out for 3 months, just so you want to know, FYI.
Oh, dang.
The other thing that I found interesting about Myanmar is it's a very culturally diverse country. Myanmar actually borders India, Bangladesh, China, Laos, and Thailand. So I can only imagine the different types of people that you would meet there. So that would be interesting. Other thing interesting about Myanmar is there are a couple different places that you can go visit, but the top sites include I can't pronounce this, excuse me, it's called the Shwedagon Pagoda, which is a Buddhist temple. There's also a 19th century structure, which is called the Mandalay Palace, which you guys saw online. There's also the Ananda Temple, which is a 12th century Buddhist temple. So there are a lot of temples out there that you can go visit. They're very, very old. So you want to make sure you're dressed appropriately and also just respect the culture. But those look like some great photo ops.
Ooh.
The other big area that's popular out there is called the Inland Lake. And basically on the Inland Lake, there's several things you can do out there on the water. Apparently there are a lot of villages that are on stilts out there. So I guess you can just ride through on a boat and go through the different villages. There are lots of markets on the water there. So you can basically like buy fish or buy fruit or food or anything else you're looking for. And apparently there's various different types of fish markets. So if that's something you're into, you can definitely go out there and check that out. And they also have silk weavers out there. So if anyone that's interested in fashion or clothing or textiles, you want to go check out the silk weavers. So I thought that was interesting as well. Oh, yeah. And apparently there are a lot of boats out there. So if you're into boats, they have that as well. So other things to make sure you're aware of, the dry season for Myanmar is November through April. However, the hottest months are March through May. So it's very hot and humid out there. So just take note of that when you're planning your trip. There's also a monsoon season. I wouldn't want to get caught out there during monsoon season.
No.
Monsoon season. Monsoon season is between June and September. So when you guys are booking your trips or you see any type of glitch deals, make sure you're not really going through June to September. So it looks like November to March is probably the best time to go. So look up Myanmar, look up Yangon when you get a chance. And it looks like a beautiful city. It looks like a lot of people don't, it's not like on the map as far as where everybody wants to go. So you probably won't see a lot of tourists. So it'll probably be definitely a cultural experience for you. Perfect. So if you've been there and you want to see something different, if you've been there and you saw a lot of different things, please let us know. I would love to see your pictures. I'd love to hear about your trip. A friend of mine, Craig, he's actually going to Asia for a year, and he's going to be going to Myanmar for a couple of weeks while he's there. So I can't wait to hear about his trip when he gets back.
That could be interesting.
Yes.
Especially from the pictures that we saw when we were looking at pre-show notes. Oh, man, yeah, this was nice. So.
Yeah, the temples, right? The temples are beautiful, and they're like the 13th century to 12th century. So I can't imagine, how, they still look beautiful from the pictures. So definitely an interesting place to go to. And I would just like to see how the food is there, because if there are people from India or Bangladesh, China, Laos, Thailand, it has to be like so many different fusions of different types of food.
Oh, yeah.
I love my food. Ooh, I'm hungry now.
Ain't missing no meals over here.
Me too. Right. Me too. Yeah, but that's it, guys. So I would love to hear anybody's story or any pictures. Tag us. Please let us know.
Driftr Travels. Make sure you tag us on IG and Twitter and Facebook.
Yes. All right, we just wrapped up our segment on flying to another country, thanks to Kiwi, giving us some travel vibes from Myanmar, this previous city that was known as Burma. Burma's country.
Yes.
It did sound like somebody's aunt. That's what it was. I was thinking the whole time, why is that name sound familiar?
Who aunt country this is?
Who aunt named Myanmar? That's what I want to know.
Myanmar and Burma.
Yeah, they all some aunt names.
Right.
Oh, man.
Well, now we're going to get into our open discussion segment of the show, where we discuss topics and things that we find and that y'all have interest in or just have questions about. And so we really listen to the community and the kind of questions that y'all have so we can answer things that are most important to you. And so for today's segment of the show, I don't want to make y'all cry, but we're not talking about vacations. But we're going to talk about something that's very important that help you stay close to Bay. We're going to talk today on the show about communication while traveling. Do you use SIM cards or international data plans to be able to communicate to your loved ones or the most important people while you're away? Now, we found this important, especially if you're wanting to run a business where you're traveling internationally or working, remotely, wherever. So, pay attention, because these notes and things will really be able to help you to run a business. Or just most importantly, just keeping communication with those that are most important.
Oh, yeah.
So let's hit things off. SIM cards, international plans. What are your thoughts?
SIM cards all day. I will never, ever, ever get an international plan ever again.
Never, ever.
Ever. Did I tell you what happened when I was in Canada?
No, tell
So
me
I
about
got the international plan. I had to pay AT&T $10 a day, and I had to use my own data. I was like, why am I paying you $10 a day if I have to use my own data? So go to Toronto.
Right.
Go to Toronto. I'm trying to make a call isn't going through. I'm trying to send a text message isn't going through. I'm trying to pull something up online, data just spinning. Trying to pull an Uber, can't get an Uber. I'm basically paying y'all to get stuck places and have to ask to use other people's phones. So I come back to the States, I get my phone bill. Phone bill's like $300. I'm like, why did this happen? Yes.
No, like that.
So I went over my data. That was $15. Then I had to pay them like $40 or $50, for the $10 a day. Then I had to pay all these extra fees, and then they tried to charge me extra international fees. So I called them, and that was nice.
Extra fees?
And then the lady's like, no, we saw that you made one call. I said, okay, so maybe I made one call out of the 300 I tried to make. And she was like, no, I'm sorry, we can't credit your account. So then I had to pull the ACE card out. I was like, you left a woman traveler stranded in another country, and I didn't have any help, and it was late at night, and nobody was there, and I thought I was going to get mugged, and how could you do this as a woman? How could you just let me be stranded? And she was like, oh, okay. So then they credit back my account.
Dang, Kiwi, you laid it on thick.
Right.
I had to.
But what was
I had
the $10
to. Like, why am I
for?
paying you $10?
Right.
I guess to send text messages and to make calls.
The
but
ability.
The servers didn't work.
Not-
The ability to make calls, but it didn't work.
But that's still
So
extra
I'm paying
fees
you
on
for
top
nothing.
of that?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the international, you're paying $10 to have access, not $10 to have a special society plan. So it
that's
still
crazy.
uses your plan. So like, if you don't have a limited, you basically still using your data pool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nah, see.
Yes.
Brandon
So
said,
never
"Nah,
again."
son."
Nope. SIM
with
card
me,
all day.
I never tried either route. I definitely look more into the SIM cards, but I usually just try to use Wi-Fi or some type of Wi-Fi. Then I use like WhatsApp. Facebook Messages have really been kind of coming up in the game as far as like Wi-Fi calling and Wi-Fi messaging.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in Iceland, that's what I was using. I was using Facebook. It was really close. I don't think I haven't even used WhatsApp in the past couple international trips.
Yeah.
Like Facebook been really clutch,
Yeah.
but SIM cards, though, I'm probably really gonna start going that route.
I definitely discovered SIM cards probably about, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. I think it was around my Hong Kong trip back in 05. I mean, 15. Not too long. That's too long.
I was like,
That's not
what?
2 years. That's not 2 years ago.
Hong Kong
Sorry,
in high
guys.
school?
Hong Kong high
Lit.
school. But definitely I started realizing about SIM cards. So I had a second phone, like an old iPhone that I wasn't using, so I just took it with me on the trip, and it was unlocked, and the SIM cards over there are like $20, and they give you like 5-10 gigs. And like, even if you're there for like 4 or 5 days, you're not gonna go through 10 gig stuff. But especially like when you start using Uber and all that, you definitely want to like track your location or no GPS, or if in the worst case scenario that we're not wishing on anybody, you were to get, robbed, mugged, kidnapped, it's good for you to have that type of signal when somebody knows where you're at and they can see the last location. So I'm big about having some type of internet connection, because Wi-Fi is dicey when you travel.
It is. Yeah.
You got to know, first of all, you got to know if they're collecting your data and information on that Wi-Fi networks. You have to know if you actually have access. You have to know if they have the speed of access you're looking for. And like, you're traveling on an Uber in a car, and next thing you know, like, you go out of Wi-Fi coverage and people can't figure out where you're at. So I tried the previous plan from AT&T before they had the $10 international plan. And I remember one time I was gone for like 7 days, and I was just like, the coverage was pretty good because it had good service. But I was just like, when I figured out like it's like $25 for like 5 or 10 gigs of data, and I'm over here I'm on a limit plan with AT&T, but I'm over here trying to minimize my $10 per day. I was like, nah. And especially because I'm on Team iPhone, I can still get like my text messages from iMessages to my phone. So usually I might put like my phone, my personal phone, actually like somewhere like at the hotel, leave it on Wi-Fi, because if it stays on Wi-Fi, I can get like text messages, stuff like that, and then I can make internet phone calls. So I use Google Voice to make phone calls, or Google Hangouts. I use Messenger. I don't really use WhatsApp that much. I just started figuring out WhatsApp. So, I mean, I'm team SIM card over international
That's dope.
plans.
So with the SIM card, does everything work? Like
Yeah.
the data work? Wi-Fi, I mean, like you able to get on the internet and everything?
Yeah, usually they have good 4G, maybe not 3G, but 4G, not like LTE, but it's just fast enough where I can get on things. And I always keep a second phone, an old phone that I don't use, and that's why I just go put the SIM card in. I have a SIM card from like Italy, SIM card from Spain, SIM card from Iceland, like all these places, because all you do is just swap in the SIM card, it starts working like within like less than 2 minutes.
No fees from your phone company or nothing.
Nothing.
Nope.
That's lit.
So it's just like a one-time charge, like $25, $26.
SIM card.
Or sometimes it can be as cheap as $15, but especially if you're going for like a couple of days, I mean, $26 compared to like even on Iceland, I kind of diced it a little bit because it's like we're gonna be there for like 4 or 5 days.
Right.
$10 wasn't gonna be that bad. But I was like, nah, I'll do the SIM card route because you're just trying to save money in the end.
Yeah.
And the internet connect, and plus I get more data. I don't have to worry about data, limits and stuff like that because they give like generous things. And a lot of countries know that travelers want like a SIM pack. So especially on overseas and other parts of the world, they really have those SIM packs already ready. So you just go get a SIM card. Like for Iceland, you got a SIM card in the like a gas station. When I was in
The gas station, yeah.
in Germany, Germany we got it in a train station. Italy, they had a mall, and you can get them pretty much anywhere, and they just sell them. So I mean, all you have to do is have a phone that's unlocked. That's it.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So if you want to use a SIM card in another country, basically you need to have your phone unlocked. So with AT&T, you can go to, there's a link where if you Google AT&T unlock, though, there's a link. You just go in there, put your phone information in there. And as long as your phone's paid for or whatever it is, you're in good standing with your carrier, then they'll unlock your phone for you. I did it in 5 minutes with AT&T before we went to Iceland. So just make sure your phone's unlocked, and then you could just buy a SIM card whenever you get to the country you're going to. Pop it in there, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah. And pro tip, if you buy like the Samsung Galaxy, phone for life plan, or you do the iPhone upgrade program, those phones come unlocked. So you don't even have to deal with the carrier with that. Because it's been in my past, like back in the early 2010s and all that, getting phone unlocked used to be a very arduous process. I didn't even like bothering with it. So I just started buying my phones unlocked so I don't have to worry about it. Right. And especially with an unlocked phone, you can move between carrier to carrier. But it also means you can take your own personal phone and just swap out the SIM card. And when you go overseas, it just starts working automatically. And they're real savvy. So, I mean, like, we popped in, our SIM cards in Iceland, Kiwi, and within, like, less than a minute, our phone had connected to the internet. We were moving and grooving.
Right.
It only took, like, 2 minutes max.
And when you come back to the States, you just put your old SIM card back in?
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
Man.
No charges whatsoever to your thing, because the SIM card is the only way they can charge you. So you take the SIM card out while you're abroad from a phone, there's no way that you can rack up fees or anything like that.
Dope.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And a lot of places you can buy the SIM card in the airports. Like I know in Tokyo, you can buy the SIM card in the airport. So it's very, very clutch.
Right. I know where route I'm going next time.
Yeah. So, yeah, save your money on those international plans. I mean, if you're traveling for work and you're going for long periods of time, I still believe that you should just get the SIM packs because you can just reload more stuff on there. And some of them come with, like, minutes, too. Oftentimes I don't use the minutes, but, like, we need to make a phone call in Iceland. It was good to know I had, like 1,000 or 5,000 minutes.
Yeah.
So
That's more than enough.
Right.
That was clutch when we missed the bus to the airport.
Oh, yeah. It definitely was.
Yes.
And then especially if you need to make phone calls, I use, like, on the iPhone, I use FaceTime audio to make phone calls. So, but the good thing to let you know, though, if you decide to keep your phone connected, if you do Wi-Fi calling in other countries, it does not count as a roaming call. Only when you're using the cellular network to make phone calls.
Gems.
Other pro tips.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm so scared to make any calls from my phone when I'm out of the country because I just don't want to get charged because I've had so many bad issues or occurrences with the phone company, so I just don't even do it.
Yeah, I ain't mad about that.
One time I was on a cruise and somehow my phone turned on and the safe, don't ask me how this happened, and people were calling me and my phone bill was like $500 when I got back from the cruise because they were like, I guess when you're on a cruise if someone calls you it's like $5 just if the phone rings.
That's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
That is too much.
I keep my phone on airplane mode, so
I don't know how that happened. So yeah, that was crazy. So I keep it on airplane mode, or I just get a SIM card and be done with it.
Keep it on airplane mode and make sure data roaming is not turned on.
Right.
I have a funny story about my first time understanding international charges. I was very young. I was like 17.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I went to London, Paris, and Italy, and I had the sidekick at the time. So that's how we dating this conversation. So I had the sidekick, and I would just get on, check the internet, turn the internet off. Get on, check the internet, turn the internet off. Came back to America, and my dad said, I hope you had a good time on the trip. I was like, yeah, I did. Why? It's like, because you have a $725.88 phone bill. Oof. I cried.
Oh.
I was 17 those fees was high back then, boy.
Woo, man, those fees were high.
Oof. $700 right now is hurting my feelings.
Ooh, love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how, but I paid it all off. So don't ask me. I think it like hit my savings like crazy though.
Dang.
So
transfer.
Right. I learned at that point from very young age to 17 years old, don't deal with the roaming charges, please.
Right.
Take it from my mistake during the sidekick days before smartphones became popular. So don't do it.
Get the SIM card.
Get the SIM card, please. Please. Well, guys, it's been cool hanging out with y'all. We hope that you've enjoyed the conversation and learning from my mistakes so that you don't have to make them. Ain't that what Hope said? Hope didn't tell y'all to do that. Like, I ain't told you to go do the roaming charges. So learn from my mistakes so you don't have to do that. So we gave you strategy on the American Express Business Platinum Card. We took you to your auntie's country, Myanmar, aka Burma.
Burma.
We talked about Burma. I butcher names for a living.
I see.
We talked about how to stay in communication with those that you love while traveling and discussing the difference between SIM cards and international plans. So make sure when you're texting 10,000 miles away that you're making sure you're not racking up charges like I did when I was 17. So until next time, guys, we're going to join you for another episode of the Driftr Podcast. It's been great hanging out with y'all. Leave us reviews on iTunes and other places that you find us. And also, join our community. Go to driftertravels.com. We're looking for writers. We're looking for you to join our community. We're looking for your feedback on the podcast, on things you want to hear so we can answer the questions that are most important to you. So until we get to talk again, we're going to love and miss y'all guys. Signing out, it's Brian Fontenot,
Brandon Boone,
and Kiera Sandoval.
See you later.
Peace.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Driftr Podcast, Flights, Miles, and Abroad. Enjoyed the show? Make sure you review us on iTunes. Share the podcast on social media with your friends, family, and fellow travelers. Want to be featured on our podcast or have a question about travel you need answered? Visit driftertravels.com/podcast to learn more and to be a part of our show. Be on the lookout for our next episode. Until next time, Driftr family, travel safe.